We're at CES in Las Vegas, where Sony has finally announced what it is they're going to do with their Gaikai acquisition. They have a new service. It's called PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now is kind of like a Netflix for games. PlayStation games specifically, you're going to be able to stream PlayStation 3 games from the cloud to devices like PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation Vita. And you're also going to be able to stream games to things like Bravia TVs and other devices like smartphones.
The idea of streaming gaming has always been one that we've been very interested in. I think it's something that provides a new distribution method outside of download or EST and outside of just retail physical, and solves a major problem for us in this industry, the whole industry, which is immediacy. We've got to get games to people quicker. We have to do that.
We've loaded The Last of Us, and now we're playing an early portion of the game. And you can kind of see what The Last of Us looks like on a PlayStation Vita. A full PlayStation 3 game that's running at full resolution, now running on a PlayStation Vita, it looks pretty great. From what I'm seeing too, it looks pretty smooth. It looks like there's really no stutter. And from where I'm looking, you can't really see a lot of those compression artifacts that you might see in a larger TV as they serve that video from the cloud.
We've come to a point where we feel very comfortable with the technology in terms of the latency, as well as the types of games that are playable.
The more I kept looking into what can be done on PlayStation Now, I mean multiplayer games, and on streaming I know there's always a question, can you support enough of that latency? And my understanding is that we will be able to support multiplayer gaming, and that's going to be a key fact. You could play on PS Now against other guys who are on PS3s and they're also playing online multiplayer with each other if they already bought their disc or downloaded the game.
For the most part, it works really well. It's pretty impressive technology. But there are some unanswered questions about the service. Sony's not talking about a lot of things like how much it's going to cost to subscribe to the service or how much it's going to cost to rent a single game. What we've seen of PlayStation Now has been running off servers that are very close by, on Ethernet connections. How it's going to work when it's coming out of a data center scattered somewhere across the country over Wi-Fi, that remains to be seen.
One of the things we did as we were making the PS4 is integrate play as you download for the EST side, and one of the things we wanted to do for PlayStation 4 and our other platforms was PlayStation Now for streaming. And so, it takes some time, obviously, to build out the infrastructure. It takes some time to build out a low latency opportunity, and really to look at the types of games experiences.
Now we're going to play a little God of War Ascension. And as you can see, there is a little bit of input lag here. I'm flicking to make Kratos dodge, and there is a beat where there's a little bit of a delay in having that action actually play out on screen. But as you can see, I'm just playing an early level of the game, but it's pretty playable. Can you just tell us a little bit about the servers, architecture for PlayStation Now, and like minimum bandwidth requirements, things like that?
Yeah, I don't have the details right now, but what I do know is that you do have to have a minimum of like 5 megabits of the bandwidth in order to play. So if you have that Wi-Fi experience, then you can definitely play PS Now.
We also know that Sony's primary focus right now is on PlayStation 3 games, bringing those titles to PlayStation Now. PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 titles are going to be down the line, but right now it seems like Sony wants to take this bit by bit and see how the service performs in the real world.
We need to make sure PS3 works first. We'll see how we rack those, how we scale it, and then bring to other territories, and then we'll see how the other platforms play into that. We need to test the latency, types of games, amount of games, the business model. A lot of the questions that we didn't answer this morning in the press conference, we've got to actually come to those, and we're working on those. I mean, there's a lot of discussions we need to have with partners, third party, our own first party development teams, a lot of things we need to have. I can tell you though that overall, the industry overall is very bullish on this opportunity, and I think you could probably see why. It's a new way to engage with great content.
There's still a bunch of unanswered questions about how PlayStation Now is going to perform, but for now, it's the closest thing that PlayStation 4 owners are going to get to backwards compatibility with PlayStation 3 titles. We're going to find out a lot more about how PlayStation Now performs in the real world when Sony starts a beta for the service this January, which then leads into a full release for the service in North America this summer.